Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson Jet Setting hotel review. Today we are in Carlsbad, California, checking out both the Sheraton and Westin Carlsbad. They're located right next to each other and they share a lot of facilities. We were here for a quick wedding and it was one of our first days with our infant son. So we're going to check out everything there is to do here. Both properties being right next to each other, there's a lot of similarities, but there are some differences that you should know before booking a stay at either property. And if you like this type of content, be sure to give the channel a subscribe and like this video. So we did park at the resort. It was a very steep $35 a night for parking plus the resort fee, which is just absolutely awful. I will say overall, even though we booked on points, this resort was very expensive once we were on property. They did include bike rentals as part of the resort fee, but that was really the only useful thing I think I could identify besides a free gelato for our one night stay. Very clearly recently redone though. I really did love the lobbies of both properties. We stayed on the Sheraton side and our friends stayed on the Westin side, so we're going to show you rooms from both properties. Here's the inner courtyard. It's very weirdly laid out on a hill, so the elevator situation is just a little confusing. You really need to understand what floor you're on. Multiple elevator banks don't go all the way to every floor, so just something to watch out for. But as you know, fitness centers all over Sheratons and Westins, and this one had a pretty nice one. Not very busy during my visit. All brand new equipment, which I really liked to see. You had a nice little water station there as well as towels. And interestingly, even though we were staying at the Sheraton, my room key did work over at the Westin's Fitness Center, so if you don't find something here, you might be able to find it over at the Westin, and we'll show you that in just a sec. The pool area over at the Sheraton side is much more family friendly. They have an actual water slide. It's pretty close to the restaurant on property, so I think you can grab drinks there, but not a lot of pool service going on at either property, to be honest. They do have an activity center that wasn't open during our visit. We were here in the off season in October, so that probably makes sense why, but they did have the water slide open, which is great. Not a gigantic water slide by any means, but definitely had some twists and turns that the kids seem to really be enjoying. They do have some fire pits at night, which is very, very needed during most times of the year in California because the temperature does drop at night. I did get breakfast included at the 7 Mile Kitchen as part of my stay. It's really only open for breakfast and dinner. Lunch is actually available over at the Westin, which I found a little strange and annoying. Even though we had 2 tickets to cover a lot of breakfast, over $80 of credit, we still went over because this place is just very, very expensive. But I will say really, really good quality food, very Italian spin throughout the resort, which is pretty fun. Overall, pretty good breakfast, and this is also where you'll find your free gelato. So now let's take a look at our room here. So we just had a simple king room. We had a small upgrade to an ocean view, even though the ocean's pretty far away from the resort. You do have some ocean to look at and overlooks the parking lot. This resort is probably pretty popular with families that are visiting Legoland and are Marriott loyalists. So you might see a lot of families around this property. And the Westin side more for the convention since they have a bigger convention center. Overall, the room hasn't really been renovated too much, though I felt like it was in decent shape and served our purposes just fine. Nice large TV there, brand name television, I believe it was a Samsung. And good amount of room here for our pack and play for our son, so that was really good. Then opening up the closet, you of course have the iron which we used. It all functioned great. And then here is the balcony overlooking the parking lot, and you can see a little bit of ocean there in the very, very, very far away horizon. If you don't get upgraded to this view, you actually have what I think is a better view, which is over the mountains that are a little bit undeveloped. They do have some neighborhoods popping up here and there, but I thought that the views over on the other side of the hotel were just fine. So now let's check out the Westin side of the resort. This has a more quiet pool, has a hot tub right next to the pool. You have some games like bags and ping pong and a pool table out near the pool, which is really cool. And here is that gym with a nice Peloton there. A little bit smaller than the one over at the Sheraton, but really, really nice and has a lot of like TRX and some more of those types of yoga options here, I think, compared to the other gym. The restaurant over here is called the 2020. So it's also very expensive. We ate here for lunch. Roman was sleeping during our lunch. I opted for the steak sandwich for lunch. I did have a margarita. which is all very, very high quality. Just wish that the prices were a little bit lower, especially because the hotel was pretty empty. Even if we had a wedding on property, it just was not very busy at all. But steak sandwich, fantastic. Fries, really good. We also tried the poke bowl, which was really good. So now we're going to show you a little bit of what the Westin's hallways and rooms look like. So definitely a little bit more upscale here. It feels like these were freshly renovated versus the Sheraton's rooms. This was a little bit more expensive per night than the Sheraton though, especially on points. We used our free night certificate of 35,000 points night to reserve a room over at the Sheraton for free. Here is what the Westin's rooms look like. So a little bit more upscale, has a nice little couch area, some nice kind of more modern appointments on the wall, as well as the art. TV looked about the same though. And then if you take a look at the view from this room, it overlooked Legoland, which is really cool for me being a big theme park fan. So that is the Westin and the Sheraton at Carlsbad. Overall, I won't return, it's too expensive, but hope this helps you in your planning.